Hey folks, welcome back to Only the Best Fantasy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about another entry in the Alex Verus series, Bound. So, in this entry, we pretty much pick up, as usual, right where the other one left off, and we now have Alex trapped in a very untenable situation where he's essentially forced to he's essentially under the influence of his former master. And interestingly enough, they have him working as a dark mage representative with the Light Council. So tensions abound, to say the least. And it kind of creates a situation where him and Anne they're basically tired and fettered by association with the Dark Mage Council, and if you think there was animosity between them and the Light Council mages before, well, things get pretty crazy here. But given the situation at the end of the previous book, Alex has a little choice in the matter, and no, he has no choice but to find a way to up his game by any means necessary, basically. So yeah, this is the 8th installment in the Alex Verus series, and interestingly enough, this book is a bit of well, for me, it felt like things kind of slowed down. It felt like Benedict Jacka kind of took a step back. He decided that we're gonna spend some time with a lot of politicking, a lot of scheming, a lot of conniving, and build a story in the direction that he wants to go. Given these books are, I think I've mentioned this in the past, but I consider these books to be very thriller paced. So think of like Clive Cussler and these kind of guys. Like that's the kind of rapid fire pace in these books typically have. This is a very different beast, and it's a not unwelcome one. It is a bit jarring given the pace of the books pretty much to this point, but at the same time, I feel like it's essentially the calm before the storm. Yeah. So in this book, like the majority of it is all about the more politics side of the story. And another thing that I liked about it was actually the time frame. So these books, because they're much more action packed, there's much more danger and tension in them. They tend to happen very rapidly over the course of a few days. This one, because it's much more of a slow burn, stage setting kind of story, it actually takes place over the course of a few months, which was kind of interesting because I don't think we've ever really seen a story in the Alex Verus series where we had like a larger time frame to play with, and because of that, like over the course of the novel, like it kind of affected the way the relationships played out a bit differently. Like there was just a larger time frame over which things would kind of change, kind of stay the same. So there is that. Overall, like I said, it's a very different kind of story compared to the previous ones. It's still incredibly enjoyable. Don't get me wrong. Still very fun. And of course, this is an Alex Verus novel. It's not like it's all politic, and there's quite a few action sequences in here and there sprinkled throughout just to keep things spicy. And not book talk spicy, action spicy. Yeah, it's I consider it another great entry into the series. A bit of a slowdown, but given the absolutely frenetic pacing of these books, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And that takes us straight into the 9th book in the series, Marked. And I kind of feel like this is the beginning of the end, because Bound kind of showed Alex just how trapped he is in this in between these like Goliaths, and he's now in a position where he needs something. He needs a game changer. He needs something to essentially make him a force to be reckoned with as an independent mage outside of the influence of the dark mages or the light mages or anyone really. And this book is in this book he really starts to explore what his options are. And unfortunately for us, if it was easy to become super powerful overnight, all mages would do it. So a lot of it is once again slow burn, similar to how the previous book was, as Alex tries, he explores his different options and tries to find different objects that could give him an edge. Now, in the interestingly enough, this kind of also plays into the it kind of plays into the previous events. Like things do come back. There is that element to it. So it's not it. Let's just say the quest for power is taking him in a very interesting direction. But once again, it's like a much slower book, a much more. I feel like the series was due for kind of a stage setting period going into the finale, because these books they're rapid fire, they're very action packed, they're very fast paced, and there is a lot of world building, there is a lot of stage setting that gets done over the course of them. But for like a grand finale, you kind of need that you kind of need to take a step back and just lay the groundwork if you don't do it over the course of the previous books, which Benedict Jacka only partially did. So once again, it's a slower book than the previous 7, than pretty much everything before Bound, but it's not unwelcome. And once again, similar to how Bound was structured, like this, there are lots of different action sequences and there's a lot of different things going on to keep you engaged, keep you hooked. Like the politicking is fun. Over the course of the like one thing I mentioned when I was discussing Bound is that these books take place over the course of a period of time, quite a longer period of time. And one of the consequences of that is that Alex kind of grew into his role and his position with the Light Council. He's much more confident, he's much more brazen as a result. And because of that, we see him kind of, whereas he tends to be very, he kind of tries to stay out of things as much as possible, or avoid taking sides or that kind of thing. He's slowly become more active, more proactive, I should say, in this quest for power, and you kind of see that slowly, that transition kind of happen over the course of the 2 books. So it's promising. It's a personality shift I like, because once he's proactive in this, he will start to become proactive in other things. And like a lot of these books, he's pretty much just been reacting to situations. These are different, and I think they bode well for the upcoming books, for the upcoming finale. What else can I say about this? I think that's pretty much it. Like, it's not a great entry into the saga. It's okay. It's not as fast paced or as action packed or as the 7 books before Bound, but it is a necessary book. And Benedict Jacka, at this point, I'm convinced Benedict Jacka cannot write a bad book. So it's fun. It's an absolute blast. If you're watching a video of someone talking about the 9th book of a series and you're thinking of reading the 8th or 9th book of a series, you're a fan. I don't need to tell you any of this stuff. Just go read the book. And yeah, that's my thoughts on the 8th and 9th entries in the Alex Verus series. I continue to have a blast with these books, and yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.